Hi, welcome to Good Enough Painting. Today I'm working on a Sisters of Battle in an Argent Crusade style. I'm a big fan of WoW. I used to play it a ton as a kid, and I thought that this was more fitting. I didn't really like any of the other color schemes, plus most of them were already taken by other painters. So I wanted to try something different. Alright, let's get to it. First thing up here, I'm actually going to be putting some texture on the base. I'm going to do a really simple base with this one, just look like a little scattered rubble since she's already standing on a stone or on a brick piece. So keep it simple here. Next, I'm going to be taking out a light blue and giving each armor piece, the bottom portion of each armor piece, a light gradient up. I'm using this at a glaze consistency. Apply it very thin, and the reason why I wanted to use blue is because of this concept art that I have here. There's going to be a ton of white on this model, so I was just thinking that having some sort of gradient on the armor pieces to break up all the white would look alright. This came out really well in the final piece. I actually would have preferred a little bit more white gradient coming down, but I think it worked out pretty well. Next up, we're going to be painting all the blacks. On the inside of the halberd is going to be black. I painted the bolt gun and bolt pistol in this as well, and then her hair. Next up, I'm going to be creating that gradient. I'm taking my lightest gray, which is a Ministratum gray, and a little bit of white, mix it together and paint over the entire armor piece, including the blue portion as well. I'm not looking for like a subtle transition. I probably should have taken a little bit more time on this, but I like the way that it turned out, so I'm sticking with it. Alright, and real quick, we're just gonna apply some skin color. I'm using Cadian Flesh Tone. It's usually my go-to. And then I added a small highlight of Cadian Flesh Tone with just a touch of white, and applied it to her right cheek and nose bridge. The left side of her face, it wasn't really reachable with how she's looking, and so I just kept it a darker shade. Alright, next up for the tedious task of applying all the whites. So I'm just applying this to the halberd and the cloth sleeves that come out of her armor. I probably applied six or 7 layers of white for this. I thinned it down to a glaze consistency just like the blue. But I was very careful not to let it pool, not to keep it as thin as possible. The result is probably the best white I've ever painted. I'm extremely happy with the white. Alright, and next let's take care of all the leather elements. My model has a leather strap that's keeping on the holster for bolt gun, and then also one leather pouch. And I just painted this all in my chocolate brown, which I usually use Go Thor brown. So yeah. And of course, something has to go wrong. I didn't get me applying the silver. So, real fast, the places that I missed, or the places I need to tell you about better yet. So the casing for the bolt pistol, the casing for the bolt gun, the chain that's holding her Inquisition emblem, and the fleur-de-lis that's keeping her bolt gun strapped into the holster. All right, and with that out of the way, my bad. Let's move on to the bronze. So you're going to be painting this on all the embellishments. So the eagle, the wings on her shoulder, the Inquisition insignias, and then also giving every armor panel a edge highlight in this as well. Just going off the concept art here, they don't use as shiny as a bronze. They probably use more of a brown color, but I wanted to use a metallic for this. And I really like the result. All right, and for the wash step, since we're dealing with all these whites and you really don't want to tea stain them essentially, so I thinned down my wash more than I normally would. I think did roughly a 3-to-1 mixture of water to wash, and applied this very carefully throughout the entire model. I still ended up with tide marks on the back of the talberd, but with a little bit of correcting, that was easy to take care of. But yeah, I covered the entire model in this wash. I just used no oil. All right, and while the wash was drying, I took out my black and gave the entire base a base coat in black. Okay, so for a little bit of freehanding, which is, I'd say one of the skills that I need to develop the most. And I try to incorporate it with a lot of my paintings, but yeah, you know how that goes. So each one of the talberds in the concept art have this awesome sun, I'll say. It's 8-pointed star coming off of it. The sun is yellow, the 8-pointed star is black. This is probably one of the easier freehands I've done. All I needed to do was make a cross with yellow on top of white, so that was pretty easy to achieve. And then the star, I just drew a line with my paintbrush. I drew a line for each point, and then I just went in increasing the line's size little bit by little until I got a result that looks something like this. It's not my best work, but I actually really like it, so it's working out for me. All right, and here I'm correcting just a few of the white details. And then I thought it necessary as well to give everything like a zenithal highlight of this white as well. So only a few of the armor panels got a white stripe, essentially. If I could take this back, I would. It actually looked fine beforehand, but I was just trying new things and trying to incorporate new stuff. So the transition on the front leg panel, I wasn't in love with because again, I used the white highlight that I just used. It just didn't look right. So I thought maybe a little bit of battle damage or chipping could take care of this. So at the stripe transition point, I took a little bit of sponge and dabbed in black, came in and gave it a few touches, and I went over the model and did this in various areas. And then coming back in with the same brush, or I'm sorry, the same sponge, and dipped it in silver this time, and then came back in where everywhere that I've done a black splotch, I came back in and did silver on top of it. All right, and with a little bit of dry brushing of gray and painting that stone that she's standing on gray, this model was done. Not to toot my own horn, I thought this was awesome. Combining two of my favorite things, nerd-wise of all time, World of Warcraft, and then you got Warhammer 40k. I thought the theme fit, and yeah, I think I'm gonna paint the rest of my sisters like this. All right, and for that part where I have to put myself out there, if you enjoyed it, leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that. If you have anything that you want me to paint, recommend it, put it down in the comments. I'm all ears. I'm having fun with this. I'm getting out of a slump. I hope everybody's doing okay during the quarantine. All right, and as I like to say, you don't have to be perfect, just good enough. I'll see you next time.